So, Carl, Nicole, our editor, asked as well if we would do some introductions as well before we start, which kind of makes sense because we actually never introduce ourselves. So we just
True.
assume that people know who we are, which is,
Mm,
kind of silly.
yeah.
But you want to tell who you are, Carl, and what we're doing here?
Sure. I am Carl. So current position, I'm CEO of Print Studios and in charge of basically everything, especially with game development, which is kind of 90% of what we do at Print. Before that, I was at Push Gaming, where I did a couple of games. Some viewers might have heard of Joker Troop and Shadow Order. And then before that, I was working at Kindred, previously Unibet. Otherwise, I'm from Stockholm, where I grew up, a little bit north of Stockholm.
Yeah. So I'm Joachim. I was a co-founder of Quickspin, now investor at Print Studios, and I like to make these videos and streams just for fun. And we try to do something new, try some new things, have a little bit of a semi podcast talking about games or trends or whatever, and hopefully entertain some people along the road as well. So today, Carl, I saw Fallout, the TV show, yesterday.
Okay,
Have you
nice.
seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's good. And it kind of made
Nice.
me think like there's just a lot of video games being adapted these days into
Mm,
successful TV shows. Like it's
true.
something that they've tried for many, many years. And I feel that only now has it become really good. Like it's
Yeah.
good quality. You have Last of Us, you have Halo, now you have Fallout. So I was thinking, what does this trend mean for us, in the
Mm,
casino industry? Because it's been done, but it's never been done really, really well. And
hmm.
maybe this is kind of a trend that we will see if it comes into TV, then maybe it will come into gambling space.
So you're saying Royal Potato series? It's actually
Well, that's
happening.
that's the other end of the spectrum where we take it to the TV set then. But I'm more thinking about where you take video games into slots. So you take video
Right.
games into TV, and then you
Mm,
take video games into slots. But then the other aspect as well is slots into video games. So I
yeah.
just stumbled onto this one. Just want to show you.
If we can pull that off, that's clever.
Thank you. I seek to utilize one of the more primal vices. Greed. The schematic is for a slot machine. I designed it to be as enticing as possible.
Quite bleak,
Hmm.
dealing with a post-apocalyptic world, and then you have people like saying, "Come on, let's just make a slot machine to make it even worse."
Let's check in with Clem.
Oh, hi. Listen, I just need another try on that machine. My luck's about to turn around. I can feel it.
Yes,
Oh
Clem.
no.
You find some more money. That slot machine will pay out soon.
And then you have, so that was like a DLC from Fallout, and then you have from
Yeah.
Fallout 76, you have
Hmm.
like your own type of slot machine that you can build in your own
Cool.
little base. So that looks
Yeah.
like this, which is pretty cool as well. There's always been a lot of overlap, I think, in between
Yeah.
video games using casinos in their games. It
Yeah.
happens a lot. So why do you think we don't see that many video game brands in the slots
Mm,
industry?
I mean, there's always less IP anything in online slots. Online has kind of always had its own meta, if you will, where we've been developing our own IPs that and been kind of putting more effort into those. Um, but then, why more movies rather than video games? I'm not sure entirely. I think it might be targeting different demographics. I think traditionally the companies that are trying to or that are using IPs and making those investment into branding games are usually the ones that turn towards a slightly older generation of players than the studios um, that yeah are purely online and turning to like the newer kind of generation of players.
I think it's also something that the industry isn't keen on associating with gambling to some
Mm,
extent. Like I think a lot of the game studios, like we work in the gambling industry as game designers.
Yeah.
But we are frowned upon by the like video game designers, right? They don't see slots or the kind of games that we make as real games. And
Sure.
they just don't really want to have the association with it, I think, to some extent. Because if
Yeah.
you look at the different brands that are out there, you can kind of see a trend, I think. It's like Capcom, which is Street
Yeah.
Fighter, which is Resident Evil. They seem to be open for this
Yeah.
kind of partnership. And I think it has to do because in Japan you have Konami, you have Sega. They do both video games and slots.
Yeah.
So there is a bit more of an acceptance there to make use of it and to take the approach that if it makes money, you know, we have a brand available, we should do something with it. Which was your favorite character?
Blanca.
Yeah, I like Blanca as well. It's just like punishing everyone coming too close by electrocuting
Yeah.
them.
It's just a cool concept as well. That like this green monster that still has some electricity going on. It's just a bit unexpected, but kind of cool once you get behind it.
Because I kind of want to figure out how the beat the boss free spins works. Oh,
There it is. Right?
it must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Vega, I always hated playing against Vega. He just...
Yeah.
him
Annoying
and what's the guy with his tiger uppercut? Tiger.
I can't remember the names of. Nice. So yeah, we have a multiplayer active now. A bit higher chance to win some.
Yeah. Oh man, I hated that when he was climbing the wall and then jumping off and doing his cheap hits.
I would have loved to see something Warcraft like, and you know, maybe have Arthas and Illidan and Furion and those guys represented. Like that could be really sick.
But how would you translate any of like the gameplay mechanics from those games into slots though?
Yeah, I haven't even begun to think about it, but we're gonna have a game, but it's not quite announced yet. But I think there is stuff that could be done. But then I think you also just have a wealth of characters and story to build on there. And just have them appear as cool characters that say different things and like have different features tied to them. I mean, they all have, you have spells and stuff to work with, so that you can always use as like the feature is. Then the question is if you want to go like full Warcraft 3 and have like a hero. But StarCraft could be pretty cool as well.
Go! Look out!
Who is she talking to?
To explore.
Us?
I mean, having played the games, she talks a lot to herself.
Maybe.
It's kind of the problem that you have, right? When you have a single person
Yeah.
and you want some interaction, they have to think out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
No risk, no reward.
I think the scatter is a very weird scatter. It's just a book with Lara Croft on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of shoehorning in a book, basically.
But it's not just that. Like there is no book with Lara Croft on it in the franchise, right? I mean,
No.
there's just no such thing.
Yeah. They just
Like if
wanted
it
the
would have been
logo.
like a Holy Grail, like one of her more iconic treasures that she's trying to hunt, maybe that would make so much more sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're dealing with a Harry Potter game and then you have a book with Harry Potter on it, you kind of can say something like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Even
Yeah.
though that would also be stupid, but here it just really does make zero sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they really wanted to have the logo as a symbol, I think they could have done that differently as well. Like, it doesn't have to be on a book. It could be like on like a fancy stone platter with a nice frame around it and stuff.
Mm.
But
Or,
again, I don't think they should have the logo, because the logo is always visible there at the top anyway, so they don't really need to have that as symbol, I would say. I think it's maybe a bit more fun to come up with Yeah, as you say, the Holy Grail would be really awesome.
This one I used to play a lot back in
Really?
the day. This was like on the microgaming download casinos. So this was
Yeah.
like 2006, I guess,
Mm.
or at least around that time period. It's terrible to play now, but good memories.
Did you win anything back then? Did you have any big hits on
I
it?
mean,
Like, can it pay?
No. I mean, it
Fair
was
enough.
super basic back then, right? I mean, we were still dealing with a nutant who was thinking about making slots, and you had microgaming that actually were the only ones that were making decent slots at the time for online play. Very
love
advanced
that.
stuff.
Yeah,
Very advanced.
I love the transitions. It's just like, bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah.
It
I'll give
shows.
it again. But yeah, for some reason, so they like Tinapapi says, they made all these games. So they used to be in the download casino. Then they made Flash versions, which were crappy.
Yeah,
And then now they made HTML5 versions of these games, but they're also crappy. It's like,
yeah,
why do you have to do it like this? Like, why do you lose all this screen space?
yeah.
I do not understand. So
Yeah.
this is from the reboot. So this is how Lara looks now
Mm.
with the latest games. So I think it's quite interesting how they continue with that Tomb Raider IP.
Yeah, yeah,
So it must be profitable for all parties involved.
yeah. Must be.
Wow, that's pure Gonzo.
Yeah, that's really Gonzo.
Oh my
It's
god.
just straight up Gonzo they've taken.
It's just the same music, same explosions.
Mm.
I guess it's the same feature as well with the top bar winners.
Yeah. Are there no other characters to work with in the Tomb Raider universe? Is
Not
it all
really.
just Laura and?
Not really, to be honest. Like every single game. So if you play the last trilogy, you would have the only recurring character is probably like her father, with a lot of flashbacks. Her mother with flashbacks, and then you kind of have a range of new casts that are like side characters that she is on a plane with, flying somewhere. And then they have to meet up with each other, or they get to know somebody living in a village, and that person becomes like relevant in the game then. But they're not really characters that you would expect to have any kind of place if they would like make a movie or something else out of it. They're just placeholders.
Oh, really?
Cannon
Okay.
fodder.
Yeah.
But what you do have, I think, is iconic enemies.
Yeah.
Iconic weapons and stuff, which is something that is kind of missing here. Like here, what they've done is they've taken Gonzos and then used the Tomb Raider brand on top of it, but haven't really done anything creative with it.
No, I mean I think it would have been nice with some antagonist being represented somehow.
And that you have.
Okay.
Like there is an arch across the 3 games of like the organization that they're fighting against.
Right.
And they have symbolism that you could definitely have used here. We're gonna end it here. So thanks a lot for joining, and thanks a lot for exploring the wonderful world of the video games and their overlap with slots.
Yeah, it's a huge, wide, deep world of 3 different games, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.